of Wisconsin and Michigan Wednesday. More from ABC's Perry Russell.
An estimated 15,000 supporters greeting Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate Governor Tim Walz in Michigan last night.
We know Donald Trump's taking us backwards, and don't believe the act. He's playing dumb.
Michigan is home to the largest Muslim American population in the country. Pro-Palestinian protesters interrupting Harris, chanting, "We won't vote for genocide."
If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking.
On the Republican side, VP candidate J.D. Vance is following Harris and Walz on the campaign trail, holding counter rallies in the same swing states. The government's weekly jobless claims report is due out this morning. Analysts say more claims could mean the economy is weakening. 3 Taylor Swift concerts in Vienna this week are canceled over an apparent terror plot. 2 suspects in.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Hi, hey, good morning. It's the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg, and we are starting the video live stream, so thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you, and we do have a guest coming into the studio, but he's late, so we're going to give him a very hard time about that. It's Zach East. He is joining us to talk a little bit about Moody on the market. The 40 under 40 was announced this week, so we wanted to dive in and talk a little bit about that. We can chit-chat about other stuff, too, so if you're interested, just join us and pop in and look for your comments. Interesting stuff in the news about the EF2 tornado that hit our area earlier this week. Again, if you remember, Tuesday we had our guest Jim Granholm in the studios, and all of a sudden all the emergency alert system stuff started going off and talking about tornadoes and this and that and the other thing. So all right, well, we've got some news to talk about. We'll do our local news, and then later on this hour, I'm going to try to get to this Costco crackdown. If you're a member of Costco, you'll want to pay attention to this because they're cracking down even further on that membership stuff. We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
And good morning. Welcome to the WSJM Morning Show. I'm Ken Lundberg. We've got our local news here in just a moment from the WSJM Newsroom. The temperature outside right now, we're looking at 59, about 60 degrees in both Benton Harbor and St. Joseph, and the surrounding area is going to enjoy mostly sunny skies as we head into this beautiful Thursday. And it's going to be mostly sunny today, tomorrow, and Saturday and Sunday, and then we'll probably get a chance of rain reintroduced around Monday of this week. So we'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. But first, the news that we're following today. Again, really, as they say, it's a bummer. It's likely going to be at least tomorrow before swimming is cleared at 5 Berrien County beaches that tested for elevated levels of E. coli this week. 5 area beaches are closed because they tested too high E. coli content for human swimming. Berrien County Health Department has issued no swim advisories for Warren Dunes, Gene Clark Park, Waco Beach, Rocky Gap County Park, and Town Line Beach. They did this on Tuesday after samples collected on Monday showed way too high E. coli levels for safe contact. Berrien County Health Officer Guy Miller tells us there's no single known cause for this current issue. Rather, he says it could be a combination of runoff from rivers, parking lots, wooded areas, and farms, and that's not all.
The currents in the lake can cause some trapping of sediments and not allow it to kind of be pushed out into the middle of the lake or be diluted. So depending on the wind, depending on the current, the level of rain, the amount of water, the types of animal life on the shoreline even, these can all be things that increase the level of E. coli.
Miller says one reason why Silver Beach and Tuscarnia Beach were okay could be their proximity to the St. Joe River, which would move water around in the area last year and disperse the contamination, that is. Last year, there were no beach closures ordered in Berrien County due to E. coli, but now we have 5 plus 1 at Warren Dunes that happened late last month. And so we asked Miller, does that surprise you?
It is unusual, and to be honest, as a resident of Berrien County, it's a bummer because I love our beaches. It's one of our greatest resources, so I definitely hate to close them because of E. coli contamination, but we want our residents to be safe. We want them to be informed.
Miller says the health department collects samples of water at 14 Berrien County beaches each Monday. The collectors go into the water about 6 feet deep to get their samples, and due to wave conditions in Lake Michigan on Wednesday, they say new samples could not be taken. Since it takes about a day for results from sampling to come back, Miller says it won't be until Friday before we know if swimming at the affected beaches is safe again. We'll have more on that story as it develops. Rebuilding bridge areas along I-94 in our area continues, and MDOT reports it's now moving into its next phase. That means starting next Monday, ramps at the M139 interchange will be closed to rebuild culverts in Benton Township. MDOT spokesperson Nick Sharippa.
So next week, the eastbound I-94 ramps will be closed and detoured on Napier Avenue. And then the following week, August 19 to 23, the westbound I-94 ramp to M139 will be closed for a week and detoured on M63.
Expect some major traffic shifts as that happens. Again, the eastbound I-94 ramp will be closed starting Monday, August 12th. The westbound I-94 ramp will be closed starting Monday, August 19th. That's where I-94 and M139 intersect. Sharippa says expect that closure to last at least a couple of weeks if all goes well.
We have to cut pavement out, replace the culvert, put new pavement back down. So it'll take about a week for each side.
The work is part of MDOT's 3-year, $205 million I-94 rebuilding project in Berrien County. And Southwest Michigan continues to get older and less educated. Hey, that's great news, right? That's according to Connexus. So the Connexus Group held a media roundtable discussion this week. The population of 55-year plus is about 19% higher than the rest of the state, which can contribute to the challenges in labor force participation. Paul Kirk is the vice president of Workforce for Michigan Works regionally and says they're working to attract more young people to make a career locally more feasible.
We're actively engaged with our school administrators throughout the counties, looking at ways that we could help strengthen and in the classroom, helping inform kids in 10th grade, 11th grade, and 12th grade of the opportunities that exist, the pathways that exist.
One way Connexus Group feels they can attract more youth to our region is with apprenticeships. Todd Gustafson is the president and CEO of Connexus Groups and says apprenticeships have been huge as employers have used them to help secure talent for the future. He also said Michigan Works is one of the top apprenticeship coordinators in the state and also said that that has a lot to do with the funding from the government.
We've also received a $3.9 million U.S. Department of Labor federal award, and that we're going to use to help with the manufacturing industry and healthcare.
Officials say they hope this will offset age and population declines in our region. And finally, the public is being asked to keep an eye out for an invader that the Michigan Department of Natural Resources worries could be devastating to forests in our state. DNR Invasive Species Communications Coordinator Joanne Foreman tells us the Asian longhorn beetle has been found in New York and Ohio, and they're afraid that it might show up in Michigan sometime soon. It's a wood-boring bug. It's about 1 inch to 1.5 inches long with a shiny black body flecked with irregular white blotches, long antennae that have black and white bands on them. Foreman says the beetle is a big trouble for trees.
This beetle is dangerous because what it does is it chews into trees and then basically eats around in the heartwood until it grows large enough to emerge, and then it comes out and mates and creates new babies that do the same thing.
Foreman says the Asian longhorn beetle eats pencil-sized holes into trees that are not hard to spot. The bug itself also stands out.
This is the best time to look for these beetles because this is the time where they're emerging from trees and moving around. So what we want people to do is in your neighborhood or your backyard, wherever it is that you go outside, take a look, especially at maple trees and willows.
Foreman says the Asian longhorn beetle has yet to appear in Michigan and that the DNR wants to keep it that way. That's why the public is being asked to take care not to transport firewood. And always burn your firewood where you bought it. That's the rule. Anyone who thinks they found an Asian longhorn beetle should contact the USDA. Foreman notes the USDA has had to destroy thousands of trees in areas where the beetle is discovered. So they're trying to keep an eye out in Michigan and keep it from coming here. It's 7:10. That's a look at some of the local news that we're following from the WSJM newsroom. We finally finally have our guest in studio. Not that he was late. Hey, Zach.
Have you been making fun of me?
Oh, we have.
Well,
yeah. It's been a lot of fun.
I've been on another radio station. What do you want from me?
So we'll talk with Zach about some Moody on the Market stuff here in just a minute. He's the awards director. He's the guy that has the trophy case.
I have a lot of titles around Southwest Michigan.
So we'll talk about that. That's coming up in just a minute on the WSJM Morning Show.
Major League Baseball from Wednesday. Tarek Skubal allowed 2 runs over 7 innings, and Parker Meadows made a home run saving catch in the 8th to give the Tigers a 6-2 win over Seattle.
All right. Too late. This is how the show works. We just turn the microphones on. We have the cameras on. How you doing?
I'm good.
What's going on? What were you doing? What made you late this morning? And I like your shirt.
So
did you wear that specially for the show today?
I did, just because you said I'm going to be on camera for everybody to see. No, I have a home studio like many of us in radio, and I've got 4 radio shows that I produce every morning, and one of them happens to be on 107.9 The Lake. Yeah, so I was finishing putting 107.9 The Lake together, which I do basically starting right at about 5:36 a.m. every day.
Oh my gosh, you're crazy.
Yeah, and then when I'm done with radio stuff in the morning, I end up going to United Way for a full day of work.
Wow, because your real job,
my real job now is at United Way of Southwest Michigan.
But how do you do show prep? If you're getting up, what time are you getting up?
I'm usually up at 4:30.
Okay, so you get up at 4:30, and then you have an hour to kind of get ready and do your show. Are you doing show prep at that time?
Yeah, I'm usually doing it as it happens. So I'm taking each break that I'm putting together. I do a lot of music research for the 2 rock station shows that I do. And I feed some of that into ChatGPT to help me out. So if you want to look at it as cheating, you can. I don't mind. But I look at it as just a great opportunity to make sure that the stuff that I found on the internet, first and foremost, that AI can tell me whether or not it's got that as corroborated evidence in its own system, but that it can also take 1 or 2 or 3 different sources and put them together into, a really nice paragraph for me of stuff that I can talk about. And I do really, oddly enough, I do really well with what you and I call in the industry ad-libbing.
Oh, yeah. That's just speaking off the top of your head.
Yeah.
Making it up as you go.
We also call it BSing, but we're not allowed to call it that on the radio. So that's how I got through college. Anyway, so
BSing, yes.
Yeah, it's just a thing I have.
Can you imagine if ChatGPT were available to us when we were in college?
I was thinking about that the other day. College for me is 20 plus years removed now. Like that hurts to say. And all the other stuff that was available at that, heck, we barely had cell phones at that time. Barely. Like there were some people I knew that still had the Motorola fat flip phone at that time, or maybe a Nokia. The little tiny Nokia phones.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think
some Nextel phones started coming up.
When I went to community college, I'm pretty sure that was when I was also working at a radio station, and I used my first couple of paychecks to buy a brick phone. That was all I could afford at the time. Maybe they had the flip phones at the time, but maybe it was just who's the guy on the Saved by the Bell or whatever, Zach?
It's
anyway,
he's on a
that
show.
guy.
Yeah, that guy.
He had a big cell phone.
Oh yeah. That was a thing that I think taught the rest of us that if you want to be cool, you always have to be Zach Morris.
Zach Morris.
And Zach Morris has a phone, so I should have a phone. That actually is how I convinced my mom to let me at least take, because my mom originally had bought some of those Motorola type of brick phones for her and my dad. My mom worked in South Bend at the time. My dad usually worked over towards Gary, and we lived in Three Oaks. That's quite somewhat of a drive between all those places. And they would use those phones, of course, each day for all their travels and communication and such. But somehow I'd convinced them at one point, I need to take this to school with me, and you need to be okay with it.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. We're going to come back on the air in just a minute here and do some stuff, and then we'll come back to the video live stream.
Okay.
This is the kind of summer that we're talking about. It's 59 degrees outside right now. It's going to get up to 80. Unfortunately, you can get near the beach, but you can't go into the water at some areas. Gene Clock Park, have you driven by?
I have, yeah, I've driven by and saw the
yellow tape,
the yellow tape all over Gene Clock Park. But as you said earlier, you can go to Tuscarnia and Silver Beach, right?
Tuscarnia and Silver.
Yeah.
So the weird thing to me, and I imagine other people are scratching their head on this as well, is you've got Rocky Gap, then you've got Gene Clock Park closed for E. coli. The E. coli measurements Monday off the charts.
Wow.
It should be somewhere under 300 on a spot check. It was at 1,100. So that was a little bit weird. And then you skip over to Scornia, you skip over Silver Beach, and then you go down to Union Pier and Warren Dunes and Waco Beach. Closed. They're also closed for abnormally high levels of E. coli. So it's very odd. We heard from Guy Miller, our health official here in Berrien County, and he says, well, maybe it's the river clearing it out. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's a good thought. That's probably how
maybe
some of it's happening.
Maybe it's getting in from the river. Who knows?
It's possible.
Who knows what Indiana's sitting
there? This is a good point for using your inland rivers and lakes to go enjoy yourself.
The person you hear on the other microphone here, if you're not watching the video live stream, is Zach East. He is the awards director. Among the 300 other hats that he wears around town, including United Way, Zach East is the awards director for Moody on the Market. And this week you had a big announcement. We heard it yesterday about the 40 under 40. So we thought we'd ask you to come in and talk a little bit about that.
You're a mistake, but whatever.
Okay. I can turn the microphone up and down.
I was going to say, I'll take your show over if you want.
No, tell us a little bit about what 40 under 40 is, and then we'll get into the announcement.
Yeah. So 40 under 40 has been a program that Pat created. I think it was back in 2018 was the inaugural year. It was among the 3 programs that we created back then, which was 15 under 15, 40 under 40, and best places to work.
15 under 15.
Well, is not age groups.
Okay.
It was the
like that's a lot of pressure for kids,
right? It was 15 employers that had 15 employees or less.
All right.
What we found out is we pretty much awarded a lot of folks, and then sort of started running out of people to award it to.
Got it.
We changed that to Bold Women of Business,
very nice.
Which has been a runaway success. There are a lot of great people being nominated for Bold Women of Business every year.
Nice.
So anyway, 40 under 40 is just, again, as you might have seen in other 40 under 40 type of awards in other places, it is the 40 people for this class this year that are under the age of 40 that are making an impact here somewhere in Berrien, Cass, or Van Buren County. And there's just a few requirements to be part of it. Typically, they've got to live or work or both here in Berrien, Cass, or Van Buren County. And the nominators take great detail in making sure we understand who these people are and their accomplishments, what they've done for the community, what they've done for their workplaces or organizations. And that is really the crux of how 40 under 40 has, I think, shown a light on some great people in the community that maybe people don't know are doing, work all the way down in the corners and even in the middle parts or wherever here in the 3-county area.
Yeah, not only are they current leaders in their space, and that's part of the recognition, but they're also future leaders, because from the WSJM newsroom, when we do stories every now and again, and more frequently than I would think, we run across people who are previous 40 under 40 recipients, and now they're doing something that causes us as a newsroom to reach out to them and say, hey, we hear you're doing this, this, and this. Tell us more about that. We've got to continue this interview, but we'll do it on the video live stream.
Okay.
So we'll continue that with Zach East in just a moment, talk more about the 40 under 40, talk about the winners and who made it possible and all that other fun stuff. We can talk some more about the McDonald's, the Big Arch. The Big Arch. Have you heard about this?
No.
McDonald's released a new burger called the Big Arch, and it's nearly a pound. It's a pound of meat.
That's
one serving.
A lot.
Yeah.
But also, for those of us who are old enough, wasn't there a McDonald's burger named something Arch in the past?
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do some
Swear
show
there
prep on
was.
that. Ask
I will.
Ask Chat GPT, see if that's going on.
I will do that.
All right. We've got Always Learning with Barry and Risa. That's right now. For those of you who want to continue the video interview, go over to Facebook or YouTube and type in WSJM, and we're continuing that interview right now here on WSJM.
Time for Always Learning with our friends from Barry and Risa. And we have, as always, Superintendent Eric Stock. Eric, how are you?
All right. Someday I will give Terry the schematics for how I want the board programmed with the quick buttons.
Yeah, those are incredibly effective. Yeah,
and I'm afraid to push them to see if they're matched, because then I don't know if I can get it back to where it should be.
The answer is don't. Trust me. I've done it before. It's the bigger ones that are up at the top versus the
those?
small. Yeah.
What are these?
I don't know. There's a lot of buttons on that board. Well,
here, wait, ready?
Against your own peril, my friend.
Okay.
Whatever you want to try.
It took me forever to find the volume for the cue.
Really?
Yeah, and that's like the easiest thing to find.
It's just a knob.
It's just a knob.
It says Q.
I used it once before, and I swear it didn't work, and now it works.
I mean, these are, I would say, much more complicated boards than I think what you and I. When we say boards, by the way, for people on video, they're the consoles that are all the buttons and sliders and knobs that we have to push in order to put stuff actually on the air. Yeah. And the stuff that we had in here when I started in this building 20 years ago, not only was it torn apart because it was original to the building in 1988.
Yeah,
it was full of buttons and switches that didn't even go anywhere anymore. Because of course, whenever we change a show here at WSJM in the past, is that an ant?
Yeah. So that's what the slider looks like on our board. And I took a picture this morning, and there's a big ol' ant. And I have to apologize to Cam Hirth from LMC. I think he flicked an ant off the counter yesterday. During the show. And I think that ant dropped onto the board this morning.
I don't know why this happens, but
has it happened before?
It has happened in nearly every studio I've been in the building, where ants, for some reason, I don't know why, but they like crawling on our ceiling, and then they get up to the light track, which is just above the console.
Yeah.
And they drop down in the middle of a show. I'm just thankful it's an ant and nothing else. That's it. That's all. It's fine. I don't care.
We're so far off the rails here. Talking about
just
ants.
Be glad it's never been a cockroach.
Oh,
that's what I was thinking of the most.
No.
But
no
again,
I was thinking
the
of
building
spiders.
is so well kept that there's no hopeful chance that would happen.
Yeah,
so
no, just ants. So I did take a picture of it, and I sent it to Stephanie, and then I sent it to Terry to say, hey, by the way, we've got. I took a video too. All right, let's talk about Moody on the Market stuff. So the 40 under 40. You get the nominations. We talk about the people. They're great people. And then you make the announcements. Who did you announce this week? Or do you want to go through the list, or you want to tell people where they can get the list? You tell me what you want to do.
Yeah. So if you go to moodyonthemarket.com and click on awards programs up there at the menu bar and click 40 under 40, you'll get to the page and you'll see each of the people, and then you can click through to their individual profiles to read about them. And the thing about this, because Ken, I think for the years that we've been doing this, there hasn't been a single period of time where at least one person has gone, well, you just pick whoever you want.
It's a great voice, by the way.
Thank you. First of all, I don't know 40 people that like me enough for me to pick them. And secondly, I personally do not have any say in any of the winners whatsoever.
Okay.
We pick independent judges based on past winners of 40 under 40.
Okay.
Those people come together and they basically go through all the nomination forms, which is a several week process.
Yeah.
And in most cases, it's 80 to 100 nomination forms that take at least 45 minutes to fill out, full of information. And they basically grade each question, and we take their average of each of the people and their average scores of the questions that they've adjudicated, and then we bring all those scores together for each of the 5 judges.
It's like an Olympics scoring event.
Well, we want to make sure that we've truly got the best of the best, and the way to do that is to make sure you bring 5 different points of view together, number one, and number two, that you are certainly getting past winners that know what it takes to be in this group, but then it's also groups of people who have perhaps got extensions across the 3-county area that know a lot of folks as well and can attest to what they're reading from these nominations. That's an important part too. So the judges that we had this year are very awesome and important folks who have won 40 under 40 in the past, and they include Lindsay LaValle of R&B Capital and Michael Siemens of Whirlpool Corporation, Nick Barber of Sturgis Bank, Victoria Felton of Corewell Health, and then Pat Moody, who is retired. This is really the only thing we ever ask him to do is to just do.
Pat, hold up a card.
Exactly. It's just
yay, nay.
It's just one vote that he has based on the other 4 people.
Yeah.
So again, it really makes it as independent as possible, where the judges don't have any ability to throw it. I don't have any ability. Of course, our sponsors don't have any weight. We at Midwest Family don't have any ability to go. These are the people that we want to pick.
Right.
So that makes this list in our eyes very independent, very
nice.
pure.
Okay.
And we want to say thanks to the sponsors: Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber, Silver Beach Pizza, the Inn at Harbor Shores, Sturgis Bank, Insurance Management Service, and the Mason Jar Cafe. Without their support, honestly, one of the biggest expenses is putting together the receptions that we do and paying for all the keepsakes, which are nearly $100 a piece. These are very nice glass trophies that people keep for years.
Yes.
I have people that call me almost every year and go, I broke my trophy.
Oh,
Can I
no.
buy a new one? And because they love it so much that they feel terrible that something happened to it.
What do you tell them if they break it?
We connect them with our partners at Competitive
Glue
Edge.
are us?
No. Because it's glass, so it's definitely done.
You just still glue it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to try, feel free. But these are really like beautiful, high quality trophies that sit on people's mantles for many, many years. And like I said, I've had people call me in tears, go, I don't know what I'm going to. And I'm like, it's okay. We can reproduce it just fine.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
At a small cost.
Yes. And
plus shipping and handling.
Again, and thanks to our friends at Competitive Edge for putting a lot of these together over the years. So let's talk winners.
Okay. Winners. Go.
Now I finally got to your question, Ken. All right.
Let's see.
The 40
sorry, we're out of time.
Thanks.
No, go ahead.
The 40 under 40 for 2024 includes Apollonia Williams at Magical Memories Wedding and Event Planning, Ardale Clark from Beyond Limits Entertainment Performance Arts Club, Ashley Reed of Merritt Elementary down at Brandywine Schools, Ashley Greer from Lake Michigan Linen Services, Bailey Boyer of Hanson International, Benjamin Patrick, who actually was an intern here many years ago.
Okay.
He has his own film company called Skydog Films.
Oh, yeah.
Beth Helm from Barry and Risa, Brady Adams of Adams and Son Heating, Cooling, and Fireplaces, Brandon Sugars of Scott's Pig Roast, in case you're hungry, Brandy Key of the South Haven Area Chamber of Commerce, Brianna Solis, who works right here at Midwest Family.
Wait a second.
I know.
How did we get one of our own nominated?
Well, one of our own actually got a nomination from somebody, and it was just one of those things where the judges went, this person has to be
That's
in
awesome.
here.
I can vouch for her. She's great.
You got it. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Casey Dubina from Lake Michigan College, Catherine Hopkins of Intercare Community Health Network, Charles Nelson of On Base Productions, Dan Norton from Baird Private Wealth Management, Danny Thompson of Lakeshore Public Schools, Garrick Maverick of the Out Center of Southwest Michigan, Haley Felton from Whirlpool Corporation, Jackson Davison of Harbor Shores, Jason Turner from Dowagiac Union Schools, Jessica Tyler from Waterville Public Schools, Julia Proshwitz from Corewell Health, Carrie Stevens from Lake Michigan Hills Golf Club. Carrie was also an intern here at Midwest Family, probably 16 some years ago.
Okay.
So another person who's done great in the community and stayed here. Kate Rendell from Coin to Porter's Special Advocates of Southwest Michigan, CASA. Katie Maroney of Equilibrium Fitness. Kinsey Gabber of Chan's Garden, Kristen Osra of Greenstone Farm Credit Services, Kristen Reynolds of Southwestern Michigan College, Maddie Hayden of Maddie Cakes Bake Shop, Megan Gopp from the Adventure Agency, Megan Klitschman from Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, Nick Fleetwood from Fleetwood's Heating and Cooling, Nick Shelton from Shelton's Farm Market, and he's also the mayor in the city of Niles. Olivia Steinke from Live Social and Gem Lux Salon.
I wonder if she's related to one of the interns we had here last summer.
Actually,
Alyssa Steinke.
Olivia is the sister of Lindsay, who was our promotions director many years ago. There you go.
It's a small town.
There are connections here.
All right.
And a lot of it is people you know.
Yeah.
Patrick Swem from Sturgis Bank and Trust, and Tim Dawson from Leco Corporation, Travis Warden from Red Arrow Roadhouse and Harbor Country Pride, Trenton Boulot from the South Haven Van Buren County Convention and Visitors Bureau, Tyler Allen of Boss Services, and Zoe Hine from Zoe's Mini Donuts.
Oh, yeah.
Zoe is actually our first winner that is below the age of 18. She's 16 years old and a business owner.
Wow.
For more than a year, I believe. I think she's had that business for probably 2 or 3 years.
I've seen
almost.
her truck. It's very recognizable.
Yes.
And so she won the 40 under 40.
Yeah, we really don't have any rules that say you can't, be nominated and actually awarded under the age of 18. Yeah. And Zoe's certainly a great example of somebody below the age of 18 who is already making it happen.
That's
so there
fantastic. The 40 under 40. How many again were there?
Really?
Just kidding. No, that's
get
great.
You some coffee.
So what's the next one?
So Bold Women of Business will be our next event award, if you want to call it that. Okay. It's also got an event that'll come up later on in November for those awards. And what we do with Bold Women of Business is that's open to any age group. Yep. We kind of try to look for folks who are again above the age of 16.
Just have to be bold.
Yes, you just have to be, and
nominated.
Somebody who exactly is around the Berrien, Cass, and Van Buren County area doing great things, and especially if they do great things that help other, women, that help the community in general, that they're excelling in their, work or their personal or volunteer relationships. We have lots of great stories of the 25 winners of each year of the past.
Okay. Hold that thought, because we've got to get back to the air here in a second. And I want to give some more information. Whoops. I love it when the dad just goes all over the place.
No, that never happens.
I know, right? The dad is the computer thing that controls what the radio people are hearing on the air. I do want to talk a little bit about Bold Women of Business and that award program in just a moment. We'll have to do it after news if you've got a few more minutes to hang around.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Since you were late, I think it's fine. Okay. No, you're good. All right, Zach East. We're talking with Zach East. He's our awards director for MoodyOnTheMarket.com. You can bribe him all you want, but he cannot give you an award because he's not on the voting panels. But he can tell you how to think about the nomination and where to find more information on those. So we'll get back to that interview in just a moment, right here on the WSJM Morning Show. We'll have some news from ABC where we've got Bloomberg. Let's tune into that.
For the jobless claims numbers due out before the opening bell, they'll be looking for clues as to whether the labor market is weakening further after the July jobs report showed the unemployment rate rose to an almost 3-year high. JP Morgan Chase economists have upped their odds for a recession, pointing to news relating to the job market. They now see a 35% chance that the U.S. economy tips into a downturn by the end of this year, up from 25% as of the beginning of last month. And Puma hopes to cash in on sporting events like the Olympics, but for now, the company is dealing with the effects of a China slowdown and higher freight costs. Puma reduced its annual profit outlook. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
I'm Jim Marone with Doubleday Office Products. Our motto is, we bring the store to you. We have sales representatives that will come to your location to sign you up as a customer or even take an order if you want. They will also stop in regularly just to check on our service levels and get feedback. We sell over 26,000 next business day office supplies, as well as a full selection of office furniture, including design and install.
All right. Got a couple commercials I got to get out of the way here. And that reminds me, I've got tickets to give away, too.
Oh.
Yes. Yesterday, we had Cam Hurth and Brian Joseph in yesterday, and we were talking about Irvin Magic Johnson. He's going to be at the Grand Upton Hall. That's coming up.
I have to follow Brian Joseph. That's hard.
Well, that was yesterday. That was yesterday. We played a lot of programming in between.
You're really going down in terms of guests.
No, this is good. The best part is that Brett Witkowski will say the same thing tomorrow. He'll say, I have to follow Zach East. Come on. Come on. No, so we're going to give away some tickets. I think we'll do it the same way we did it yesterday, which at a certain time, I'll make the call for a comment on our Facebook page. At a certain time, I'll do it. And then I'll look at the timestamps on when they came in, and then we can award the tickets accordingly. Congratulations to Carol, who got the ticket yesterday. So we'll be right back. We've got news to get to, and then a couple more comments with Zach. That's coming up.
Trucks with the red, white, and blue.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
Yeah, this, Zach. We don't let people retire here.
We don't.
So Bob Buchholz, if he comes near the building to pick up something or whatever, it's like, hey, Bob, can we have you record a couple of commercials?
Here's
or liners?
5 commercials to record
just,
while you're
just
here.
read them into the microphone. But it was important that he did that because Hassey's Towing is the sponsor of our news this hour. News is brought to you by Hassey's Towing and Crane Service, the trucks with the red, white, and blue. It's 60 degrees outside and cloudy skies just for the moment. I do see some sunshine peeking out. So it's going to be burning off the clouds here in a moment. But we've got 61 in St. Joseph. Dowagiac is 58 degrees, 61 in South Haven, Buchanan 57. The forecast for today is going to be mostly sunny, high around 82. Some winds out of the northeast. Tonight's forecast, but they'll be light, 5 miles per hour. Tonight's forecast, partly cloudy skies, a low around 62, light winds. Friday, mostly sunny, high around 74. And windy as well. Saturday and Sunday, beautiful forecast. Highs is around 75, lows around 55. And then Monday, they start to creep in back with another chance of showers, about 20%. So it's going to be mostly sunny otherwise, a high of 78 degrees and a low around 58. Some of the news that we're following for you today, unfortunately, even though it's beautiful weather out there, it's not a day for the beach, at least if you're planning on a few area beaches. It'll likely be tomorrow before we understand whether swimming is safe, deemed safe, at 5 Berrien County beaches that are currently closed after testing for elevated levels of E. coli this week. The Berrien County Health Department issued no swim advisories. You can't swim at Warren Dunes, Gene Clock Park, Waco Beach, Rocky Gap County Park, and Town Line Beach at Union Pier. That happened Tuesday after samples collected on Monday showed that there was too much E. coli that was safe for human contact. Berrien County Health Officer Guy Miller tells us there's no single known cause or source of this issue right now. He says it could be a combination of runoff from rivers, parking lots, wooded areas, farms, etc. So we'll talk a little bit more about that at 8 o'clock, but those beaches are currently closed. If you want more information, just check out our story at WSJM.com. We also have a link to the current beach monitoring place where they can tell you when things open. The Out Center in Benton Harbor is calling on Benton Harbor City Commissioners to establish an LGBTQ liaison in the Public Safety Department following an incident during the organization's Pride Fest in June. Speaking to city commissioners this week, Out Center Director Mary Jo Schnell said the group has been part of the community since 2007, offering support and a safe place for LGBTQ Michiganders. However, during the June 22nd Pride Fest at Dwight P. Mitchell City Center Park, she says some hostile protesters showed up. They were allowed to stay, and she said it really put a damper on the celebration that they were having. We'll talk a little bit more about that and why they think the city can do a better job of enforcing park policies. And then finally, State Representative Joey Andrews is highlighting ways the latest state budget will benefit municipalities, in particular focusing on the restoration of revenue sharing. Speaking to the Benton Harbor City Commissioners this week, Andrews said the legislature this year established a revenue-sharing trust fund that cannot be touched by future lawmakers. And that's after the legislature slashed revenue sharing to cities, townships, and villages during the recession back in 2009. He says the trust fund is supported with a portion of sales tax revenue. Its creation was backed by the Michigan Municipal League. We'll tell you more about that coming up at 8 o'clock as well. It's the WSJM Morning Show. We do have sports coming up with Dave Wolf, our sports director, in just a minute after this look of state news.
ABC News. I'm Derek Dennis. Tornadoes are possible as Tropical Storm Debbie moves up the East Coast. One possible twister hit near Rocky Mount, North Carolina last night. Erica Bilton says she felt one in South Carolina, where Debbie made a second landfall overnight.
We heard it coming. It sounded like a train. Yeah, it was wild. Craziest thing I've ever been through.
Heavy rain.
All right. Let's see.
Ken, you seem exasperated already.
Well, no, I mean, I hit the wrong thing, and whenever that happens,
that's okay.
Because we demand perfection here, darn it.
Yeah. Why do you think I got kicked out of the building? No, we always hit wrong buttons, and the computer doesn't always do what we need it to do. That's where in the past we had CDs ready to go.
Man, oh man. You don't want to know about. So my first radio station, the first radio station I worked at, which was in a town of 3,500 people. So you can imagine we didn't have a lot of live talent. It was all satellite audio.
Yeah.
It was a satellite network that we just played, and then My job was to pipe in every half hour with a weather forecast and play commercials. We played them on carts, real carts.
Mm-hmm.
And
8-tracks looking type.
Yeah, they
type
look like
of-
8 tracks,
yeah.
but they have the infinite loop of tape inside that just keeps spinning around and around, and they have little electronic codes that make them stop at certain points. However, our satellite, for some reason, went down one day.
Oh.
It was
bees.
Yeah, nothing. And so I was there all by myself in this town of 3,500. The closest engineer was 30 miles away to look at stuff. So I had my Walkman with me with a cassette tape in it.
Ooh.
Of my own mixtape of Pink Floyd.
Wow.
Yeah. So I took the headphones and I put them on the microphone and I turned it on and I walked away until the engineer got there. Yeah, changed the format entirely of the station because it was current top 40
Elevator
stuff.
music?
No,
Oh.
top 40 stuff. Yeah, so I was playing Pink Floyd.
You played Pink Floyd.
Oh yeah, that's all I had.
On a top 40 station.
That's all I had.
Well, it was top 40 at one point, so I guess
Not at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had gone to the dark side of the top 40. Anyway, we're talking. We need to wait until we can talk on the air about the Bold Women of Business nominations. But tell us a little bit about what you're doing at United Way, because you have been in radio. Where did you start?
My internship was with a show that was on WGN radio in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was kind of like, it's the first place you're going to start in radio, really? No, I did college radio and TV for all 4 years of college at Ferris.
WGN radio, was that when they were still on the ground floor?
Yes, on the ground floor of the Tribune building there on the Magnificent Mile.
Wow.
And I actually did a show during Christmas with the show that I worked on was called The Sunday Papers with Rick Cogan. He was he is an editor still at the Chicago Tribune, but also had this show. And so the best experience I had there was actually filling in for like the Saturday midday sports show that would normally be on. It was Christmas break at that time, but there were tons of people out at the Magnificent Mile shopping.
Yeah.
So of course, WGN's like, we'll go to the showcase studio so that all these people walking by can see us produce a studio. And I remember getting the phone call of, hey, do you want to come up here? You got to be here, by tomorrow at this time, at this date, at this place, but we're going to do the show for 3 hours in the showcase studio. Do you want to be part of it and be my co-host?
Yeah.
Fell out of my chair. It was an amazing opportunity, but I was definitely just kind of freaked out over it. Yeah. And then oddly enough, I talked about that experience and someone overheard me, and that someone happened to be the program director of WIRX at the time.
Oh.
This was all the way back in the very early 2000s.
Okay.
So when I started here in 2004, 20 years ago, I was just doing weekends at WIRX, and then I grew to do promotions assisting work, and then eventually worked all the way up to being the vice president here.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then you said, see you suckers.
Yeah, it was more like for the 15 plus years that I was a volunteer in all these different capacities at United Way of Southwest Michigan, it's an organization that's really near and dear to me, and enough that I was the board chair very recently. And just like any nonprofit organization, but even just like businesses these days, everybody has levels of challenges. And I won't say that I feel like I accomplished everything I needed to accomplish here at Midwest Family, but what I saw was an opportunity where I could fill several roles and really help an organization that's incredibly important to me while still doing what's important to me here.
Yeah.
And so I had the two CEOs come together.
Oh boy, were you nervous?
Yeah, our guy here and United Way's Anna Murphy, and they had a kind of a discussion of just making sure that they're both cool with the idea that I'm going to be shared, but United Way gets more of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I still do radio every day, and I'm still here in the building for Midwest Family, at least once a week. And then the United Way work that I do is based on development. It's all major gifts, conversations with employers, getting employee campaigns started for United Way at different places, and then of course doing marketing and communications, which just telling people about our work is an important part that just we have to make sure that happens, because the amount of things that United Way has its hands in along with its impact partners is monumental. There's tons of information coming in and out of that building every day. And we just need to make sure people understand what's going on in the 3-county area, because as we'll also look at, today is School Supply Spectacular over in Dowagiac, where they're handing out backpacks to hundreds of students. And that's just one area of focus alone among many others that United Way has.
What are you hearing from people when you're going out into the community to those businesses and saying, hey, we've got a campaign, we'd like you to be a part of it?
What we're hearing, I think, is we certainly have had a huge list of employers who have been part of doing campaigns for many years, but the folks who maybe are new to the process certainly always want to know what is in it for my employees to do this, to come together, have a discussion.
How do we know everything's going to go well here?
Yeah. Like, what is it that, it's always what's in it for all of us. And that's a reasonable question to ask, because everybody's time and efforts are limited these days. The reason that we want folks to talk to us about the chance to either work with us for volunteer work, to get their employees to go out and maybe attach themselves to volunteer projects, or do a campaign, is very simply just to make sure that the community is getting the support it needs, because all these impact areas that need to actually have some focus, and that we, of course, hopefully reduce numbers or increase numbers of things that need to be done in the community depending on the data, doesn't happen without many hands making light work, truly. So the campaigns that folks are starting at their employers are really, sometimes it's even just like a little insurance office with 3 employees. The number of employers or employees within those employers doesn't matter. It's just the people who want to make an impact in the community. And they might say, I want to do something that's very specific towards Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, one of our programs, or maybe the 211 program, where you can call 211 from any phone and basically get lifeline assistance of maybe I don't know how I'm going to make rent this month. Do you have resources that you can help me with? So thanks.
10 seconds.
Nobody's ever been able to cut me off like that. Way to go, Ken.
Hang on just a second. We'll be right back.
An eventful day. We'll see high temperatures inland getting up around 80 degrees. Along the lakeshore will stay in the upper 70s. Winds will stay light. As we head into tonight, partly cloudy skies. We stay in the low 60s. And tomorrow, breezy and cooler with high temperatures in the low 70s. We'll see big waves along the lakeshore. I'm WSBT 22 Chief Meteorologist Carrie Peugeot.
The Morning Show with Ken and Friends on 94.9 WSJM.
Am I the and friends part?
Yeah, you're the friend today.
Oh, that's nice.
You get a t-shirt.
A t-shirt. Do you know how many shirts I have from all the stations here?
That's not a bad idea. I should do t-shirts. Just have friend on it.
There you go.
Just throw it at people. Yesterday, because you had a difficult act to follow, because yesterday my friends were Cam Hurth and Brian Joseph. They came in representing Lake Michigan College and Pizza Hut and talking about the speaker series that's happening at Lake Michigan College, which is being kicked off with Magic Johnson.
I mean, no small person coming.
Whoa.
Yeah. Huge, larger than life person with lots of stories to tell. That's going to be a great show.
Well, and the fact that he's gone from being a multi-millionaire probably many times over from his NBA career to being a multi-billionaire, or at least operating billion-dollar companies. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So we should probably glean some advice from him.
Yes.
But I've got 2 more tickets to give away. Let's do that right now. If you go to our Facebook page and you find our video where we're streaming live right now at 7:49, if you're among the, I'm going to pick the 3rd person to do that.
No.
Put on our comments, say, hey Ken, I want some of that magic. Some right? How else can I get people to say
sound
that?
Like a top 40 radio.
Hey,
want some of that
I
magic.
want some of that magic.
Bring it here.
I'll set you up with a couple of tickets. Just make sure that I'll reach out to you via Facebook when I see that. So the 3rd person to put that in comments on Facebook on our video live stream that's happening this morning, I'll set you up with 2 tickets. They're worth $50 a piece.
Wow.
$50 a piece. You get to see live and in person Magic Johnson at Lake Michigan College.
I just sneak into the control booth usually, and that's how I get to see the shows. And then
So-
they kicked me out immediately.
And
So.
congratulations to Carol yesterday, who won the tickets. So we're going to set you up with that as well. All right, it's time for your Moody on the Market update. It's brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today. They are your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph and in Niles. And we have Zach East. He's been with us this hour, most of this hour, because he was late. Not that we're bitter about that.
Let it go.
Zach is here. He's the awards director for Moody on the Market. We've been talking about 40 under 40. Let's wrap that one up, and then we'll preview and talk about Bold Women of the Business.
Yeah, so 40 under 40 we released yesterday. We talked about it here on the air, but also there's plenty of information online at moodyonthemarket.com. When you go to the awards section and click 40 under 40, the gamut that has been run of all the people who have been named in 40 under 40 for this year, it's always delightful to read what those judges' decisions are. Yeah. But then I also even look at the people who got nominated who didn't necessarily, maybe make it. But we've also seen some people who have been nominated maybe 2 or 3 years in the past, and they had some great accolades probably at that time, but now suddenly they're just really out there making a difference in the community and for themselves and their employers and such. And those people are some of the folks that made the list this year. Excellent. Or as you and I talked about on the live stream, some of them actually started with us here at Midwest Family 15 or 18 or 10 years ago in some cases as an intern or just a part-time person, and they grew to wanting to do all these bigger and different things, but they had a base in doing something that they wanted to explore at a young age, and that's how it starts. So you can read those profiles at moodyonthemarket.com right now for 40 under 40. And a big thanks to all of our judges, Lindsay LaValle, Michael Siemens, Nick Barber, Victoria Felton, and our own Pat Moody, of course, as well.
Yeah, congratulations to everyone who got the 40 under 40, not just this year, but for all years, because, again, we look at you as community leaders. You're making it happen, so thank you very much for that.
And there's a very good chance I'm going to call on those past winners to be judges for next year.
Yeah, make some time.
That's right.
Make some time, because there's a lot of nominations to go through. Let's talk about just to touch on Bold Women of Business. That's the next award program that you have coming up.
Yeah, so Bold Women of Business was created a couple of years ago out of just a kind of a great idea that I think it was a past judge that said, well, why don't we do something to make sure that women are recognized in our community? Because we have a lot of great women who are doing great things in their organizations, but some of them are the leads of those organizations, or they've created their own business, or they're leading a major part of an operation somewhere, or manufacturing, just all these different ideas. And I went, okay, that sounds like a great idea. What if we just launch it for the first year and see how things go? And the answer is things went well. There are a lot of people to nominate in our community, and I'm really glad to have seen that. I think Pat is as well, where we got all these nominations together. And then I think the judges for that first edition of Bold Women of Business a couple of years ago probably had a difficult time, because I believe we got to like 80 or 90 nominations that year. We were only supposed to pick 25. So Bold Women of Business is just basically any age group of women in the Berrien, Cass, and Van Buren County area, whether you live or work or both within that area. In September here, we'll announce that we're launching the nominations for that. It's a 3-week window.
All right.
People very simply go to moodyonthemarket.com. And as you and I can know, based on some of the emails that we get, you don't get to actually win an award if no one nominates you.
That's true.
We just don't randomly know people in the community and pick them out of the clear blue sky.
Not that you're bitter about that.
No, or I'm not. But it is something we kind of have to explain, because in the awards generating community, there's a lot of stuff that floats around where, you can buy an award.
No, that's not us.
No,
we don't do that.
We can't do that.
Have we thought about it, though?
Not at all.
Oh,
no,
okay,
it's not lucrative enough. Because honestly, what we saw from the sponsors who are part of these events is they love supporting people in the community too.
It's independent and it's not paid for. You got to go through a jury of peers.
Exactly. So Bold Women of Business is just very simply, if you know a woman who is doing some great things in her community, wherever they happen to be, or even the broader community, that's great as well. And we've had folks that have been, the saviors of their church doing a ton of volunteer work, all the way to, again, the CEO of a something or other in the community. That is the great thing that we get to do, is nominate, or I should say read all those nominations and award 25 women each year.
So the nominations for Bold Women of Business, That will open in September. Look for an announcement here. We'll do a Moody on the Market story about it, and then maybe we'll even invite Zach back to talk about that as well.
Against your own,
my
peril.
own timing considerations. No, this has been great. This has been good. Zach East, he's the awards director from MoodyOnTheMarket.com. This is the Moody on the Market update. Look for more information on the bold women of business, and then also check out all the 40 under 40 awardees, award recipients. We've posted them right now. It's at MoodyOnTheMarket.com. Moody on the Market update is brought to you by Insurance Management Service. Call IMS today, your local auto owners insurance agency in St. Joseph. And Niles, thank you for controlling all of the award stuff.
Yeah.
For setting it out and making sure that those trains run on time. We appreciate that.
It's very much all organization and structure. But again, as I'll tell anybody, I have no say in any part of it. That's why there are judges. So,
but you also loaned me a laptop here that I still use today for the live stream. So thank you for that as well.
Oh, sure. I'm surprised it's running. I'll
Me
be honest.
Too. We had to kick it a couple of times, put some tape on it. Zach East, Moody on the Market Awards Director. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you soon. All right. We've got more on the WSJM Morning Show. News from ABC is coming up. Our local news. We'll give you the latest on the beaches around Berrien County that are closed. That and more coming up.
Would you call free checking that pays you cash back on purchases unbelievable?
Hang on. Come back. We
here.
always have to say goodbye to the people on the video live stream because they've taken their time.
Hello, live stream. It's me.
We're not praying for them right now. I mean, you can
Justin
if you
Bieber.
want to.
Didn't he used to do this?
No, we really anything else that we didn't talk.
Not used to being on camera, Ken. We're radio people. We were kicked out of television.
We have faces that were made for radio, and here we are on a camera. Well, the internet got us one way or another. All right. Anything else that we forgot to talk about today?
Just that I definitely did get kicked out of TV because I did.
Did you really?
I did. I did a lot of it in college.
Yeah.
And then at the just before I was graduating, I'm like, this is not for me. I really would rather be in radio.
Oh, man. All right. With that, I'm going to have to wrap this up. We're going to go see who won our tickets. And then I've got to put this, right there. Make sure. And then we'll do that other thing later on today, that recording.
All right.
I think we're good. All right. Thank you for joining us on the live stream today. We appreciate you and coming behind the scenes and seeing what we're doing. All right. Thanks and see ya.